On this episode, I'm joined by Justin Monorail from the Passholder Lounge Podcast to talk about his Disney World hot takes. Today's November 8th, 2022. This is episode 511 of the Main Street Magic Podcast.
Jeremy and Rhonda are more than a little fond of Disney World, so they made this podcast to share it all with you. Reports and resorts, top 10 lists of all sorts. Main Street Magic's bringing it home for you.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Main Street Magic. I'm your host, Jeremy Stein, and while I am sadly not joined by my lovely wife, Rhonda, today, I will soon be joined by my lovely friend, Justin Monorail, in just a moment. But first, make sure you check us out on the web at mainstmagic.com, as well as follow on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at mainstmagic. If you've not done so already, go ahead and head out to Facebook and search for the Main Street Magic community and ask to join. Then if you hit that subscribe button, you're going to get brand new episodes every Tuesday and Friday. Did you know that Mouse Dining can alert you of openings for not only the best Disney restaurants, but for things like dessert parties, candlelight processional, and the now returned Fantasmic dining package? Mouse Dining will alert you when they spot availability for your desired restaurant, date, meal, and time. Head on over to msmfriends.com to use this free service. Then if you're getting ready to plan that next Disney or Universal vacation, looking to go on a cruise, or pretty much travel anywhere else in the world, head to mainstmagictravel.com and fill out a form for a free quote. Our travel services are completely free to you. And then finally, Main Street 16 Challenge Weekend, our second annual, is coming to you February 2nd to 5th, 2023 in Walt Disney World. This is a way to bring our entire community together and rally to raise money for a great cause in Give Kids the World Village. This is part social gathering, part team trivia, part challenge. Main Street 16 is this combination of all the things we love about the Disney parks: the rides, the details, and most importantly, of course, the people. And this event is about giving back to extraordinary people. If you go to mainstreet16.com, you can find out about our room blocks at the Wyndham Lake Buena Vista over there at Disney Springs, as well as our team trivia and live Q&A podcast episode at Stargazers Lounge on that Friday. You can find out more information about the challenge on Saturday and sign up to participate. And most importantly, you can donate to Give Kids the World. Now let's bring in the one and only Justin Monorail to talk all about his Walt Disney World hot takes. Welcome to the one and only Justin Monorail. Justin, thank you so much for joining me. Honestly, I've had this idea in my head for quite a while, and so I am so thankful that you were able to join me tonight. Fill in for the lovely Rhonda. We have the lovely Justin. So welcome to Main Street Magic, my man.
Jeremy, thank you so much for having me. We have been talking about getting together for a while, and I know this is a topic we've been batting around back and forth anytime that we've kind of chatted about doing my next appearance on Main Street Magic. But I'm so happy to be here. I can't fill Rhonda's shoes. I will never claim to do such a thing, but I'm going to do my best to keep the energy up and try to deliver a good show for you today.
Oh, I know you'll be outstanding. And I got to laugh because the topic of this episode is hot takes. And I know that both you and I don't really enjoy that phrase.
Right.
But it's very, very popular in the Diz Twitter atmosphere. And so I thought it'd be kind of fun and almost funny to do that, this kind of unpopular opinion episode. And why not call it hot takes? You were so gracious to have Rhonda and I on your new podcast just about a month ago, actually. Before we dive into this, will you please tell everyone about your new show? It's about, 2 months in now, Passholder Lounge Podcast. Just tell people a little bit about the background from that, coming out of Monday Morning Monorail, because everybody should listen to this show. It's absolutely outstanding.
Oh, sure. I appreciate that, Jeremy. Yeah. So I started doing the Passholder Lounge. I think I started in August. So now coming up on, this will be going into my 4th month doing the Passholder Lounge. It doesn't seem like it's been that long, actually. And it's probably because of the way I recorded it. I piled up a bunch of episodes before I ever released anything. And so then I haven't had to scramble every single week to record something. But yeah, it's been going well. And basically the idea is just, it's funny because it really ties into what we're going to be talking about today, is getting together with people who are passionate about theme parks, not necessarily Disney, not necessarily Universal, or maybe even other things that they might, be passionate about, like zoos, aquariums, museum, whatever it is, and just sort of like having friendly conversation, like just sitting down, connecting, having a drink, and just seeing where the conversation takes us. Because in my experience doing the Monday Morning Monorail podcast, the greatest joy that I got from doing the show was really the connections that I made with people and the conversations that would spur from each of the shows that we would put out there. We were mainly focused on news back in those days. I mean, we would give our own spin and our takes on it, but really it was the conversation that kind of came after that, where I really kind of enjoyed what was coming from the show, what the show was giving back to me. So this new show, now that I have kicked this off, is really focused on that. And it's unusual for me because I tend to be a person who likes a lot of structure and notes and detail. And, I like to have a plan going into a show, but I'm trying to let that go a little bit. It's sort of like exposure therapy for me a little bit. And I just essentially go in with like a loose topic with whoever I'm going to be talking with. And we just talk. We have a good time.
Yeah. Well, and I love that idea because I'll tell you right now, and I know I'll go off on an immediate tangent, which we'll probably do a couple times during this episode, I'm sure, is, one of the things that we love to have is guests, but I'm the same way. I feel that there has to be such a structure to that. And you've got to have this, here's the direction it needs to go and all. And so I love that idea. And I'm totally going to steal from you when we start doing more interviews where I don't have a structure. And it's just like, look, let's turn on the mics and let's just start talking Disney. It doesn't have to be, why did you start and when did you start? And then where did you go? Blah, blah, blah. And like this bullet point list, let's just turn it on and talk. And you do a wonderful job of that. Where
Thanks.
can everybody find your podcast? Where can they find you on social media? Because I just don't want to gloss over that and forget to ask you later at the end of the show.
Oh, sure. I believe at this point we are available on, I say we, the royal we, the Passholder Lounge is available on pretty much all the podcatchers. If you listen on Apple, if you listen on Google, Stitcher, Spotify, I think I'm on Pandora. I know I've submitted it, but pretty much anywhere that you might listen to podcasts, just look for the Passholder Lounge. I also always tell people you can Google the Passholder Lounge podcast and it's the first thing that'll come up.
Yeah.
So it's easy to find. And on Twitter, it's at the PHL pod, and you can find links to everything there. So, yeah, come hang out with me. Join the Passholder Lounge, everybody. It's a good time.
Yeah, please do. And funny enough, I don't listen to myself, but on the way home, I drove home from Disney this morning, and I put on that episode that you had us on. And it was so much fun. It was great. And I absolutely loved listening to it and hearing all three of us get together because Rhonda was on that as well was just super fun. So I really do highly suggest everybody subscribe, follow. You're going to see a lot of awesome familiar names out in the podcasting and Disney world. And it's outstanding. So I am super excited for this one. This hot takes, I'll air quote it because I know we think that is kind of a silly phrase, but it's true in the Diz Twitter world. So what I have kind of tasked Justin to do is give us his hot take and we can kind of discuss it after each one of each of the four parks, Disney Springs and then the resorts. And then I got a couple little bonus rounds maybe at the end can just kind of riff off of. So
Great.
Let's start with the oldest park here in Walt Disney World. What is your Magic Kingdom hot take?
Okay, so before we really jump into this, I'm glad you've given a disclaimer about the whole hot take thing because that's sort of like my brand now, especially out on social media, is that I'm so anti-hot take. So I want to put that out there completely before we dive into this. But yeah, so keep in mind, a lot of this is tongue in cheek. Please, people, don't be offended if your opinions differ from mine.
Very.
Okay, I have two for Magic Kingdom.
Awesome.
So the first one is cheeseburger spring rolls. They're just okay.
Okay.
I mean, I know that tends to be one of those trendy snacks that people love to recommend in the Magic Kingdom. I personally think the pepperoni cheese spring rolls are better. But I know, it's all a preference thing, but yeah, when I've had them side by side. Unfortunately I didn't get to try the Philly cheesesteak ones. I don't know if you had a chance to get those, but
yeah, they were pretty good.
But the cheeseburger ones for me, they're just I don't know. They're just okay. I don't ever feel the pull to get. If I'm getting spring rolls, I'm going pepperoni pizza.
Yeah. I'm going to agree with you completely. And I know that we differ on various sides of the pickle debate.
Mm-hmm.
You enjoy pickles. I do not. I know that they have that slight hint of them in it, which is the reason I don't like them at all. Now, making them at home, and I exclude that, and I go by kind of the recipe from the unofficial like Disney Parks, cookbook that Ashley put together. And I think they blow the ones in the park out of the water. Like, and again, I don't include any sort of pickle, but I think they're outstanding. But I agree, the ones in those parks are super overrated.
Yeah,
and the pepperoni are outstanding.
And here's what I was thinking as you were talking about that is when it comes to cheeseburger, especially cheeseburger snacks, there are just better options. Like, and I think about like the pods at Satuli Canteen, the cheeseburger pods. I would much rather have that. Now I know it's different. That's more of like an entree, but like a cheeseburger is delicious. And this to me tastes like a cheap, like the ingredients they use taste cheap to me. Yeah. On the other hand, the pepperoni pizza spring rolls, I could compare those to like, oh, well, is it similar to like a Hot Pocket? Not really. It's better than that. Is it similar to a pizza roll? It's better than that. It's better than your typical pizza like knockoff snack.
Yeah.
And you get that dipping sauce. It's great. The marinara, it's perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah. I love them. And right now they have a corned beef one.
I bet that's good.
It was not bad. Of course, that's one of those things. I also hate mustard. And if you're going to do like this corned beef one, you have to really dip it in mustard to get like the full overall experience. Yeah. So Rhonda loves them. She loves the cheeseburger one. She actually loves most all of them, but she's not as critical, I think, as I am when it comes to food-based items. So that's definitely a difference. But I don't know if I want to ask you about something else or if maybe it's your second hot take at Magic Kingdom, because I also think turkey legs are the most disgusting thing on the planet.
Oh, I'm not a turkey leg guy either. To me, it's like, oh my gosh, if you want concentrated sodium, then you go with the turkey leg.
Right.
I can't, after I eat those, I just don't feel good.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's like a one and done kind of thing.
It's weird because if you get a good piece of meat out of them, which first of all is almost impossible because they're just filled with all that tendon and fat and like whatever. But if you get a good piece, they're not bad. Yeah. They smell delicious, but to me, there's nothing more off-putting than watching someone walk around Magic Kingdom with just turkey leg grease and whatever
down their
all
forearm.
Down their arm. It's awful. So it's so funny, and it's one of the most popular.
Yeah.
Again, you call it a snack? Is that an entree? I don't even know. I mean, we fed our family four once.
Hey, we're in America. We call it a snack.
That is a snack. That is an appetizer. That's the meal you eat before your meal.
That's a snack.
What is your other hot take here for Magic Kingdom?
Okay. I think personally, my personal opinion, the Under the Sea Voyage of the Little Mermaid is the best ride in Fantasyland.
Ooh, yeah. Okay.
That's what I would say. And I'm putting Seven Dwarfs Mine Train up against it.
I'm not going to argue.
All right.
All right. Here's always been my thing, and let me know what you think with Seven Dwarfs Mine Train is it's a fabulous ride. It's great. But the payoff at the end of that wait is nowhere near what it should be. Like, it's so quick. It's done before you even realize it, and all the elements are wonderful, but to have 90-minute standbys and that be the payoff is not worth it. That should have the same, well, this might be a little bold, this should have the same weight as like a Barnstormer. Like, in comparison, if you wait 5 minutes for Barnstormer, it's super short, it's a kiddie coaster, but in the end you're like, I waited 5 minutes, that was worth it.
Right.
If you waited 30 minutes for Seven Dwarves, in the end, you're going to be like, you know what? That was worth it. When you get into 60, 90, 2 hours, it's probably the worst payoff out of any ride at that level in Walt Disney World, I would say.
Any headliner. I absolutely would agree with you. And that's my biggest negative against the Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. I don't think that I think your cutoff is right. I think it's 30 minutes or under. Because really what you've got is it's a hybrid of almost like the Barnstormer and then the old Snow White ride.
Yeah.
And it's just the best part to me is going through the mine and getting to see the seven dwarves and all that. And that's what, like 1/3 of the ride.
Right.
And doesn't even last that long. So I know people love it. I certainly enjoy it. I don't think it's awful. I just don't think it ever justifies the weight that it carries.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What would you select as an individual lightning lane at Magic Kingdom to pay for? Like pay separate from Genie Plus and all that? Because I don't think it's Seven Dwarfs Mine Train.
Yeah.
Like what would you even select?
That's a good question because because of the weight, I think that it makes sense that Seven Dwarfs Mine Train is the individual lightning lane.
Of course.
Because if you think about the others, Haunted Mansion, Pirates of the Caribbean, you've got Splash Mountain, you've got Thunder Mountain, Space Mountain. Like typically these lines are much more efficient and they don't stack up and build up the way the Seven Dwarfs Mine Train does. Although sometimes Space Mountain gets long, but that is one you can pay for.
Yeah.
Maybe Jungle Cruise.
Yeah. I agree there,
because,
especially right now during the holiday season with it being Jingle Cruise.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was a good 90 minutes this morning when I was in Magic Kingdom.
Yep. That sounds about right. And it's not, again, I love Jungle Cruise, but I'm not waiting 90 minutes for it. No. And that line can be brutal when it's hot.
Yes.
Out.
Yes.
So I think that to me would be the one I would consider.
Yeah. I agree with that. I'd go that or well, we'll see here in the future when, Splash Mountain is converted to Tiana's Bayou Adventure. I'm sure that there's going to be some adjustments there with the individual lightning lane. And maybe we get into some of that a little bit later as far as Genie Plus and Lightning Lane goes. But
oh, sure.
Let's move on to Epcot.
Okay.
I have a thought in the back of my head of some of where direction you're heading. But I don't know if I'm right or wrong. I feel like it has to do with obstruction of views.
Oh my God. I wasn't even going to bring them up. If you want to talk about barges.
That's where the whole thing started. That's where this whole thing started for me was your non-love for the barges. I was like, man, that would be a lot of fun to kind of dive into these types of things at the parks with Justin. So
it's funny. Maybe I just feel like that's low-hanging fruit for me. So I came up with a couple of actually I'll start with this because this might sort of like surprise you a little bit. I think Harmonious is much better than people give it credit for.
Yeah. I'll agree with you there.
Yeah. I think it's personally between the two updated shows, I would take it over Enchantment.
Mm-hmm.
Even with the new additions, I still think Harmonious is better. I enjoy the use of those hated barges during the show. I do not think they should be out there for the rest 10 hours of the day that Epcot's open.
Agreed.
But I don't like when the show's going on. I'm like, okay, well, I like the way they use them and I like the show. So people, that may shock people because I am an Illuminations lover at heart and I will never be happy about the fact that I can't ever see Illuminations again. But I didn't think I would like Harmonious as much as I do. I didn't like Epcot forever.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I like Harmonious.
Yeah. I think the fault, you go back, the fault with Enchantment is that it's not Happily Ever After.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And then the fault with Harmonious is viewing point. I do think that there's something to be said that if you're not in the correct spot, it definitely hinders your ability to enjoy it. I know we went, let's see, I know they started it early before October 1st. We went the September 30th, I guess, or whatever, like the night before it was supposed to premiere because we were down there for the 50th anniversary and we had a bad spot over near France. And when you can't see that center barge in all its glory, I remember walking out of there going, this is garbage. It's awful. Yeah. And then we came back and I'm looking on social media and people are kind of giving it a little bit of praise here and there. And so I told Ron, I was like, before we review Harmonious on the podcast, let's go find a good point of view 4K YouTube video and let's watch it. And so we watched it and we both came out and we were like, oh shoot, this is actually pretty good. Like if you're in the right spot, if you're up in the front or you're in the back there, usually like Japan, it's
Japan,
really good.
Italy.
Yeah.
or if you're dead on, looking right at the Stargate from the Future World side, as I still call it. I
Yeah.
don't think I'll ever stop calling it Future World. Yeah, I agree that. But I've been told by some people that they watched it from the side and they still thought it was pretty good. But I do think that if you have a really good view of the main barge and you can see all that they do with that it definitely knocks it up at least like 50%.
Yeah.
In terms of its effectiveness as a show.
Yeah.
So that's my big thing. And the reason this is a big deal is because as much as I hate those barges, and I hate them,
Yeah.
I actually like Harmonious quite a bit. So.
That's awesome. I love that though. I do wish that, and of course we're going to lose Harmonious. Yeah, I do wish that they could take those out because that sight line really is destroyed. Like,
it's awful.
And it would be one thing, I guess, if they did what we thought they would do, where maybe all those screens were active throughout the day.
Yeah.
Maybe the water features were always going on throughout the day. Maybe it was like a constant show throughout the day. Maybe we wouldn't hate them as much. But one of the best things about World Showcase in the World Showcase Lagoon is looking across the water and seeing the other countries, and they just completely stripped that from us.
Yeah.
All during the day. And I did catch it a bit last night from Japan before I did the post race party, and it really is a great show. I'll be interested to see what they bring next, but I'm okay if this stuck around for a little bit. Honestly, I'd have been all right with it.
Actually, one of the times that I watched it that I remember having such a blast, I was in Japan and I was standing with a group of people who were just so into the show. They were singing, they were dancing, they were having a blast, and being like part of that energy.
Yeah.
Really, that makes a difference. It really does. Yeah, Harmonious, I'd be fine with it, sticking around a little bit longer, but unfortunately it looks like it's going to be a casual. Now, if it has to go, can we also get rid of the barges?
That's what
that would be nice.
Do you think they do with the amount of money that they put into them? There's no chance, right? They're not just going to scrap those things after 18 months. There's no way.
No, they won't. They'll be around for at least another year or two, I think, before they let them go.
Yeah.
If they do, just because they've got to get some sort of some mileage out of the money that they put into them, right?
Yeah. I would love to plan, if we could, before Harmonious comes to an end, and I know something new will come along, is doing one of those fireworks cruises. Like, we should get a group together to do that.
That'd be fun.
We did one for Happily Ever After before it met its demise, which is now coming back, but it's not actually coming back.
Yeah.
It's the song,
right.
but not the show. I don't know what's happening there, but there's nothing like that. That's a pretty cool way to like witness and take in those types of fireworks shows. So that would be pretty cool if we could get a group for that. Maybe like a little Passholder Lounge crew, right?
Oh, that'd be sweet. Yeah, absolutely.
What else you got at Epcot?
This one I feel like could get a little bit of emotion, an emotional reaction from some.
I love that.
I don't think Soarin' is even a top 5 ride at Epcot.
Top at Epcot. Okay.
Mm-mm.
What okay. I guess I'll ask why, and what 5 rides, let's just say it was 6. What 5 rides would you put in front of it?
So, okay. I enjoyed Soarin' over California. I actually thought it was good. I've never really liked the change to Soarin' around the world. The perspective thing is terrible on some of the scenes. And if you're not center or at least center top or center bottom, if you are far left or far right in the theater, it's just not even worth it.
Yeah.
In my opinion, it's like such a waste, because maybe this is me and just a little bit of ADHD for me, but like I'm distracted by what's going on the sides. Like sometimes you can see like the ride operator down there and whatever else is going on, but also you can see like the screen is sort of damaged in some places that you can see. That's distracting to me. I just don't think. Why does every single scene change have to be a jump scare? I don't understand that. And really, after you've done it a couple of times, the novelty of it has sort of worn off for me. I think I would personally, to answer the second question, I would rather ride Test Track. I would rather ride Frozen. I would rather ride Living with the Land. honestly, if I'm staying in the land pavilion,
Yeah.
I'd rather ride Spaceship Earth. I would rather. This might be crazy, but I'd rather ride Guardians. I mean, not Guardians. I was going to say three Caballeros. Honestly, Guardians 2 and Ratatouille. I mean, for me, it's going to be dropping down to like ride number 8 or 9 in Epcot.
Yeah.
On my personal list.
Yeah.
I just don't prioritize it. Like if I go into Epcot and there's a wait over 20 minutes for Soarin', I'm like,
yeah,
don't worry about it.
Yeah. Well, you bring up a really good point because this is, I mean, I'm honestly, maybe you can think of one. Is there another ride in Disney World that is so dependent on where you're seated?
Yeah, that's a great question.
I mean, I really can't think of one because you're right. If you're center, center row, center flight, whatever, it's a completely different experience than if you're on the far side and you're looking at that wonky, Eiffel Tower.
Right. And you're seeing the curve of the screen and everything else. I mean, I honestly would feel bad. Like if I recommended to someone, hey, first thing, I would never do this. But if I was like, first thing you got to do when you get to Epcot, go get in line for Soarin'. And then they got a seat like that, like bottom row, far right, which I've had. And it's just like, why did I even do this? But is there another ride? I don't think so. Cause it would have to be another one that had like almost like a theater seating type situation.
Yeah.
So
even Flight of Passage, I feel like you're still getting the same experience dependent or non-dependent on where you are. Now, if you're on a far right side, you might get a little, again, I'm the same way as you. It's hard for my brain not to go, wait, what's happening over here? I see where the screen ends. Like I'm that type as well. But Flight of Passage, I think you're so enthralled in the scenery that your mind almost doesn't wander. You don't go, oh, I can see the floor moving below me, or I can see a little bit where the screen breaks to the right or, below or above me. And Soarin', I mean, you're right. 2 completely different rides if you're here or you're here. Yeah. And that's pretty interesting. So you just talked me into that one. Yeah, that's now my hot take is Soarin' is garbage. Don't worry.
I didn't say that. No, it's funny because sometimes I think about that with Flight of Passage. Like if I know it's like, oh, I'm in the first or last seat, like is this going to be not as awesome of an experience? But once the ride is going, I'm so immersed in that ride that I forget where I'm sitting.
Yeah.
So it's different.
Yeah,
it does work a little differently.
Definitely agree with you there. Any other thoughts on Epcot, or do we want to move on to Hollywood Studios?
I think we can move on to Hollywood Studios.
All right, let's do it because I have no idea where this one's coming from, so I'm very excited.
Okay. Again, I'm nervous about. I actually wrote down 3 options here. I may not even do this one because I don't want people to come after me. Okay, let's start with this. I think Woody's Lunchbox is one of the best quick service locations on property. I love it.
Yeah.
I mean, the if you go tachos, great. If you go there's like a brisket grilled cheese sandwich, you get the tomato soup, so good. Breakfast, lunch. I pretty much have always enjoyed what I've gotten from Woody's Lunchbox. Plus, they've got that like grown-up electric lemonade you can get there. That's good stuff. I hate the seating situation because inevitably you've got someone who's taken up a table and they're just waiting for people who are riding Slinky Dog, and that drives me insane.
Yep.
But aside from the seating, the actual food from Woody's Lunchbox, it rivals, as much as I love Ronto wraps, it rivals a Ronto wrap for me. Just the whole menu. Yeah.
I can agree with that. The only thing I miss so much, they had the breakfast sandwich that was the turkey, egg, and cheese.
The turkey. Oh,
it was
good.
It was like Thanksgiving, like thin slice roasted turkey, and it had that egg and cheese, and it was absolutely outstanding. I miss that very much, but I agree with you. I do think that the what do we got? Two registers, I think, is an issue. They've worked a little bit on some of the seating, and I know they try and monitor that and say, don't sit here if you don't have food or whatever. And they put some, covering and some awnings over top of some stuff because a lot of it was out in the open. But yeah, I agree with you. It is an absolutely outstanding option. Yeah. And I think it just fits so well to the theme of Toy Story Land, because I'm going to be the one, and maybe this is my hot take, like, I know everybody's so mad about not having shade. They're mad about not having an Al's Toy Barn, but you can't put a full-size Al's Toy Barn in
In
Andy's
Andy's
backyard
backyard. Yep.
at the level in the size of toys. It
Sure.
just can't be done. You'd have to put it outside of the entrance, and there's just no way to do that. So, and again, Andy's not going to build this backyard little theme park and have all these different shade structures. It's
Right.
not going to happen. And if you start just throwing in umbrellas everywhere, it doesn't fit unless they're cocktail umbrellas. You know,
Right.
these big green umbrellas don't fit the theming of it. And for people that are so angry about theming or breaking theming, it just kind of makes me laugh that they're like, we'll just shade everything.
Yeah.
And you can't just throw in a 50-foot oak tree to give you natural shade. Like, that's not going to work either. So yeah, I find that part interesting, but I'm down for Woody's Lunchbox. I'll be honest, I don't think I've eaten there in 3 years or something, but
Oh man.
it's one of those places that I'll constantly talk about, even if I don't go back all the time, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I was actually going to say, I think pound for pound that Disney's Hollywood Studios might have. I mean, it would be in the discussion of having just the consistently highest quality food options outlet to outlet. If you compared it to any other park, like, I mean, it's probably better than Magic Kingdom. If you go restaurant to restaurant, it's probably better than Animal Kingdom. Epcot, of course, is like the obvious choice for like best food and drink, but they're gonna kill you with volume. They've got so many options, and I don't love every single restaurant in Epcot or every single quick service, but really, I would pretty much go anywhere. Even Backlot Express, I think, is pretty good at Hollywood Studios.
Yeah, and they're constantly changing it Backlot Express. Like, they're constantly updating menus, adding items. ABC Commissary, when they changed that menu, they changed like the game. That food is unbelievable. Docking Bay 7 is off the charts. Ronto Roasters, Woody's Lunchbox.
Brown Derby, come on.
Oh my goodness.
Brown Derby's great.
And we love the Brown Derby Lounge. Like, Rhonda and I to sit outside there, get like the margarita flight, get the little Cobb salad, some sliders. Their charcuterie board, in my opinion, is the best on property.
Whoa, wow, that's a big statement.
Is that a big hot take?
That's a hot take.
Have you had it there?
I have. It is good.
That honeycomb changed
honeycomb.
my life as far as charcuterie boards go. I did not know that like existed, and I thought it was absolutely outstanding. And we're charcuterie people, and I think that might be number one on my list for charcuterie.
Jeremy, I feel like this is a T-shirt idea. Charcuterie people.
Charcuterie people. Oh, that'd be a good one. I like that.
Because you could do a tour. You could do a tour of charcuterie at Walt Disney World.
Be so good.
Yeah. That's good. I'm not going to argue with it. I know it's a good one. Honestly, I feel like Baseline has a good charcuterie board.
They do. Very good.
But even the weird charcuterie you can get in Oga's is not so bad.
Yeah. Surprisingly.
Yeah.
It is good.
So there's strong the charcuterie game in Hollywood Studios is strong.
Very good. Well, speaking of Oga's, what's your stance on Oga's?
I love Oga's. I'm a fan. Now, it's not what I necessarily thought we were getting.
Yeah.
And I think there's still more they could do with it, but I tell you what, I'm a sucker for DJ Rex, number one. And I think some of the drinks are pretty strong. I like the fact that they've stuck to their guns on, we're not just going to offer like traditional cocktails. Like, these are Star Wars drinks.
Yep.
And I like that. I think at this point I may have tried pretty much everything, because I went through the beer the last time I was there.
Okay.
And yeah, I think here's the only issue. I don't love that, they cram you in so tight at the bar. I don't love that sometimes you have to sit with like mixed groups if you do get a booth.
Yeah.
The seating situation or standing in most cases is just not great.
Yeah.
But aside from that, like, I like the drinks. I like that they try to keep the food interesting. I like the atmosphere. I think it's fun. I think there's all the ingredients there for it to be like a amazing Star Wars immersive bar experience, and they're very close.
Yeah.
With a couple of tweaks, it could be even better.
Yeah.
Like, give me like some, like, I would love to have some, I don't know if you'd have smugglers or stormtrooper or whatever, just some, a little atmosphere in there, a little character atmosphere in the bar would be fun.
Sure. Yeah.
But yeah, I'm a fan. How do you feel about it?
Well, one of the things that I love that you just said is that they have stuck to their guns from day one on the menu items. Whereas you look at somewhere like Skipper Canteen at Magic Kingdom that dumbed everything down because people just didn't understand it. Even Docking Bay 7, remember when they changed all the names of menu items because people were like confused. And I love that Oga's has continually stuck to what it's supposed to be as far as names, as far as, you're not going to go in and just get like a Jack and Coke. You're going to get these inventive drinks. We haven't been in a while. I think we have a reservation on December 23rd in the morning to go in and grab a drink, grab something to eat before our lunch that day. So I love it. I agree with you. I think a little bit more kind of atmosphere. And because we haven't been in a while, I know when we first went, when it opened, like you'd have the stormtroopers that would come through. Like, I'd like to see more of that. I'd like to see maybe a little bit of a show element. Yeah. But it's another one of those I try and think, all right, is the payoff worth what it takes to get into there? It's getting a little bit easier to get in, but it can still be tough to get a reservation. But I'm super excited to go back. Like, it's been way too long. And the food, I know there's not a lot of it, is super inventive. And like I was saying, they have not dialed back. They're like, we're going to go in with this weird charcuterie that nobody understands, but it's delicious.
Yeah, it's good.
And we're not going to dumb it down and be like, all right, here's a plate of, just ham and cheese, because nobody understood what was happening. So I appreciate that a lot. And like you said, DJ Rex, I mean, you can't beat that. I wish that you could kind of hang out in there all day, but I totally understand why you can't. And I would take Oga's over Hyperspace Lounge on the Wish, which we got to go do. And it was very, very cool. Loved it there. Super inventive as well. Drinks were amazing. Food was cool. Atmosphere was incredible. But it had a much more modern Star Wars feel, if that makes sense. Whereas Oga's just feels like this old school OG trilogy, like cantina. It's exactly what you wanted, even though they made a new story instead of just, kind of going with the original trilogy. But I think it does a wonderful job. I love it.
Yeah. And I will say, like, one of the things I love that they've done is that you can actually like book reservation in Oga's after park hours.
Yes.
And I've taken advantage of that a couple of times. And what I have found, they don't rush you out of there, even though like the park is closed. I think one night, let's say the park closed at like 9. I think I got my reservation at like 8:45. So I knew I'd be in there after park closed. I stayed until it was almost 10. Wow. And then when I left Oga's, there weren't like cast members rushing me out of the park either. I sort of like wandered around Galaxy's Edge. Oh, wow. I took some pictures of like empty, dark Galaxy's Edge. It was great. So that's a nice thing that they've added. I know part of it was to address like the demand. So they've got, more options for people, but I have found that it's gotten easier to get in, and I just, if I can get in there, I always have a good time.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm excited to go back. That'll be super fun. Do you have any other Hollywood Studios thoughts? Or are we ready for Animal Kingdom?
I do, but I think we should move on because I'm afraid these other ones might get me in trouble. If I come back someday, maybe I'll share. This will be a little teaser.
Okay. All right, you'll
bring me back,
sure.
and I'll give you some of the good stuff.
All right, let's move on to Animal Kingdom, which I believe is one of your favorites, right? You're a nomad. You're a nomad lounger. Love Animal Kingdom. I think much in the way that I do. So I'm super excited to hear kind of your quote unquote hot take here, because I'm trying to think of one for myself.
Yeah, I had a little trouble. It's funny. I was thinking, am I just that much of an Animal Kingdom homer that I can't come up with anything I don't like about it? But I have one, and this will just be a quick one. I don't understand the point of Kali River Rapids, other than like giving people an option. Like here's a ride, here's a raft ride. If you want to get wet and cool you off. But like the fact that ride, and I know the background story of it kind of is a little bit, the development went through a rough patch and they had to cut like some of the original plans, and it's sort of maybe half as long as it was supposed to be, and all the stories gone and all this kind of stuff. But like at the end of the day, that there is nothing that draws me to that ride. I've done it a couple of times. I got more wet than I wanted to, and I'm like, it's a waste of space and time for me. I just don't understand why we have that ride.
Yeah. I'll put it up there with the Barnstormers, with the Seven Dwarfs Mine Trains, is that it's so quick. It's just, it's so short. The only reason I think I love it is it has a place in my heart with Lacey, because Lacey enjoys it. And we got to a point where the four of us were going, and we were always going on Cali River Rapids, and we were enjoying it. And then there got to a point where Rhonda and Kaylin were like, we're done. We don't want to ride that. We don't want to get wet. It's short. We don't want to wait. And for years, 2 years at least, Lacey was still like, I want to do it. You know, Dad, will you do it with me? And I was like, yes, I will do it every time. And and I agree with all the points of it not being that great, and it got cut and all this stuff. But Ron and I think we're just talking about this on the last episode. Since we're going for Christmas, the girls aren't pass holders. We had to buy them tickets. We're, park hopper, all 4 parks. And I told her, I said, I don't care if we're there on Christmas Day in the afternoon and it's a ridiculously cold day in Florida for us, whatever that means. And we walk by it, and if Lacey's like, will you go on that with me? I'll be like, heck yeah, I will. And I don't care if I get soaked, because I get to enjoy that with you. But I understand and do agree with every point you're making. It's one of those weird things that has a nostalgia to me.
Sure.
But if it wasn't for that, I agree. I do think that there is better usage of that area and that space and that land. If you could double, it's like, you're like, oh, we're going to have this big buildup and we're going, this is going to be this big crazy ride. You do the drop and you're like, wait, what just happened? It's over? We have to get off now? Like, what happened? Plus, one time we were walking through the queue and I saw a snake. And so that pretty much made me not like it very much. I will say that. It's the only place.
That's just authentic immersive theming.
Right? Yeah. It might have been animatronic. I'm not sure.
You never know. But this is exactly what you're talking about is part of the reason why I feel like hot takes are so dangerous when it comes to these sorts of things, because, everything that you hate, someone has like this really strong nostalgic tie to, and you can hurt people's feelings when you say like, this is the worst ride I've ever been on or whatever. And because people take this stuff seriously. So no offense. Yeah. This is just my personal thing, but I totally get that.
Well, it's a great point you bring up. And it was something we talked about on the Passholder Lounge episode, is that, and that's why this whole thing, like you mentioned earlier, this is a very tongue-in-cheek episode. We're having fun. Yeah. We both love Disney parks so much. We are both very, very positive people. We always look at the positive and good of parks. This is just a fun way to kind of, rib a little bit and talk about these kind of hot takes and stuff like that. But one of the things we talked so much about on the Passholder Lounge episode was, it's one thing to go, Cali River Rapids sucks.
Yeah.
And it's another thing to say, I don't care for it because.
Right.
And that's still a very big thing. And that's why, you do a wonderful job, and I hope we convey it as well, of saying, we may not like this thing, but here's the reason why. We're not just going to blanket statement and say, Enchantment isn't a good fireworks show.
Mm-hmm.
No, it is. Now, compared to Happily Ever After, it's very different. Maybe it doesn't live up to that, but somebody else may think Enchantment is so much better than Happily Ever After, and that's their opinion, and that's 100% fair, and they have their reasons. And so that's why I love these types of conversations, because there is no factual thing when it comes to these types. Other than that, absolutely. We both hate Primeval Whirl, and we're glad it's gone.
Well, yeah, we're both on the same side.
And I believe you said you would dance on its grave. I think that came up, I feel like I will be right next to you. I'll do a jig with you right next to it, man. I'm telling you. I'm so glad that thing is gone.
Yeah, absolutely. I celebrate the demise of Primeval Whirl, but I have so many close friends that love it.
Oh, so. The girls used to always love it, and I had to go on it with them for so many years because, like you, Rhonda gets motion sickness, and it was a big thing for her. And I'm like, look, I'm getting older, and I'm going to break a neck on this thing. But if my girls want to do it, I'll go ahead and get on it. It's so weird, because that's one of those rides that, as much as I hated it, I had a love for it because they loved it. And I remember getting on it every time and telling them how much I disliked it. But I spend the whole time laughing even though it's literally trying to break my back. And so it has this other like fond memory like Cali River Rapids. So it's kind of cool in that way. But
for sure.
What else you got for Animal Kingdom? I know it doesn't involve Nomad Lounge because that is one of the greatest spots on the planet.
Right. There's nothing bad I could say about Nomad Lounge. But I'll say OG Rivers of Light was actually a really good show, and I miss it quite a bit.
Yeah.
When they had the actors that were actually out there, helping to tell the story.
Yeah.
I know that it didn't like hit with people generally, and it wasn't your traditional nighttime spectacular, but I really liked it, and I'm pretty sad it's gone. I think that almost for the same sorts of reasons that I liked Illumination so much is that it wasn't just like this highlight reel of Disney animation. It was doing something else and telling a different story. And I'm sad it's gone.
Is there something you'd like to see come to Animal Kingdom for a nighttime show? Like specifically, would that just be it? Like if they just brought that back, you'd be cool? Or is there anything different or new you would like to see? Did you ever see the Jungle Book nighttime show that they had in there for a little bit?
No, I didn't see that.
Goodness. It was, if people, I actually thought Kite Tales, maybe this is my hot take, I think Kite Tales was an absolute blast.
Oh, sure.
Because it was a disaster.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And Jungle Book, when they put that show in, was just a straight up disaster. It was so bad. But yeah, Rivers of Light was amazing. Did you ever see it on going up Everest? When you're going up on Everest.
Oh, I see. Like from the ride.
Goodness,
no, I never
that was
saw
incredible.
It from the ride.
It was so good. It was just, it added this atmosphere. And I totally get you have animals. You can't do traditional fireworks and all these things. But I thought Rivers of Light was a really good compromise to give people something nighttime in Animal Kingdom. Like I want to be in Animal Kingdom after the sun sets.
Yes.
And we don't get that. And I hate it.
I know.
Just give me anything on that water and I'll probably be happy. Other than Jungle Book, as I mentioned.
Yeah, I don't know what the solution is, and of course, they wouldn't bring back, OG Rivers of Light, but I don't know. It's so funny. It's almost like that little amphitheater is sort of like a cursed space.
I know,
and it makes me wonder if at some point will they just like give up and. I don't know what they would do with it, but
right. Yeah, it's a tough conversion because it's not like just having a theater off to the side that you could bulldoze and take out. You really, I mean, what else are you going to do there? You just take the seating out and just go, oh yeah, now here's a lake.
Yeah.
I mean, there's not a lot you can do there.
I wonder if they couldn't do, I don't love this suggestion, but I'm just going to throw it out.
Okay.
We've got a lot of Avatar movies coming up.
Mm-hmm.
And we already have a river shaman that people love so much in the Na'vi River Journey. I wonder if they couldn't do some sort of a nighttime Na'vi show.
That'd be really good.
Yeah,
I like that idea. Did you see? I think it was today. James Cameron said that if Avatar 3 doesn't go well, he's done.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So he's like, just forget the other 87 movies over the next 100 years that I planned. We're just,
that's smart.
He's like, if that one doesn't buy me a new house, like on the Eastern Shore or something, I'm done. That's it. But I find that funny.
I guess that's pragmatic. I mean, if it's a bomb, but
for sure, update Flight of Passage with different scenes like Star Tours. Now that we have more movies, that's what I want.
That'd be cool.
That would be incredible. I was hoping that from almost day one. Like, I mean, Star Tours is incredible. I remember every time a new Star Wars movie would come out, they'd be like, we're updating the scenes. And I'm like, what? I'm going to get down there. I could ride this 8 times in a row and have 8 different rides. Nobody else does that. Like, that's absolutely incredible. So do that with Flight of Passage. But
maybe they could. I think probably the production of those scenes would just be a lot more expensive because it's so high quality 3D. And,
for sure.
You know, so maybe there's a little more to it, but
for sure.
But they have to be thinking about if these movies are super successful, maybe there are some different things they could do with that show.
I can't imagine that the next one, The Way of the Water, is not successful based on the simple fact that so many people are going to be like, crap, I got to see this because I think everyone that thinks it's going to fail is going to buy a ticket and go see it.
Probably.
You know what I mean? To try and prove it to themselves that it's going to fail, which means they're still giving their money, which means that it becomes a success. You know what I mean? Like it'll be an interesting thing. I don't know.
And for sure. Okay. So I'm not a fan of the original Avatar movie. I it's fine, but I think it was visually impressive, but I didn't love the movie. But I do think these movies are the kind that you have to see in the theater.
Yes.
Because otherwise you're just not going to get the effect at home.
Yeah.
And so the people who want it to fail may end up streaming it, and then they're just going to be like, see, I told you it wasn't that good.
Right.
But you're not really experiencing it the way it's supposed to be.
Exactly.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. All right. Disney Springs, I think, is one of the most interesting hot take items we have. You got something good for Disney Springs, or were you done with Animal Kingdom, or you got something still there?
No, I'm good with Animal Kingdom.
Okay.
So this is just a positive at Disney Springs.
Awesome.
And that is, I just think Haleo is way overlooked.
Yes.
I think that, and pretty much I hear the same thing from people who end up finally going and trying it out, almost to a person, that they're like, wow, I had no idea it was that good. I didn't know what the experience was going to be like. And I just don't think it's on a lot of people's minds as like, oh, that would be a place that I want to try when I go to Disney Springs. I know there's a lot of great options. Haleo absolutely should be mentioned amongst the great options.
Agreed completely. Absolutely love that place. Jose Andres, first of all, is one of the best human beings on the planet, I feel like. And he's making some of the best food on the planet. We loved it. And what I love about this place, and Ron and I have talked about this, is like it's great as like a date night, right? It's fine. But what this is truly is about bringing people together.
Yeah.
And getting a giant group of friends and basically saying like, look, everybody cool with every single person ordering something different, and then we all just pass the plates around. Like it is such a family atmosphere, and then the food is just out of this world.
Yeah.
Now, have you done the full tasting, correct?
Yeah.
And you've done just kind of go and kind of a la carte it, or what's your experience with all that? Okay.
Yeah. And I think you're right. I think the way to do it is with a large group of people. Like get your friends together and go out and just have a good time, because it's kind of a loud place too. Anyway. So I think that's definitely the way to do it. Go and experience as many of the different dishes as you can. And there are some things that I have had there that I've had comparable dishes at other tapas restaurants that are just not, you can't even compare them.
Yeah. Like
Haleo is just head and shoulders above. So yeah. And also, this is just a side note, maybe the best old fashioned on property is at the Enzo's Hideaway.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so if you're into the old fashions now, I definitely recommend going, because they've got it's a almond old fashioned.
Ooh,
it's really good. Yeah,
that sounds
really
interesting.
Good.
Have you eaten there as well at Enzo's? You have. We have not had. I don't think we've had food there.
Yeah, it's very good. I mean, I've done lunch twice at Enzo's Hideaway. Yeah, and I mean it can be a little heavy because it's like pasta and stuff, but it's good. I enjoyed it. I've never gone to Maria and Enzo's, actually. Interesting.
Yeah, we haven't either.
But Enzo's Hideaway is good. I'm not a fan of the Edison.
No,
not really. I've had a couple things I like there, but overall, I don't. It's the atmosphere for me. Like I don't love the atmosphere of the Edison.
Yeah, we did. So we did Wine and Dine. And I know I've told this story a long time ago. We did Wine and Dine 4 years ago. We were doing the 10K. And the night before, we went to the Edison. And they have the burger of the month, and it was a Thanksgiving burger. So it was literally a turkey burger. It was topped with a stuffing patty, which was then topped with like cranberry sauce, fried onions, gravy, whole 9 yards, sweet potato fries. I decided to eat this entire thing the night before I was going to get up at 3 a.m. and go on a 10K run. Whoops. And I've never been more, it was delicious, but I've never been more miserable in my life. And I think that actually might be the last time we went there. We've probably stopped in once or twice for drinks. But other than that, we haven't done a lot there. We were actually looking at the Edison to do our Main Street 16 ticketed event. Because it has some pretty good setups for things like that.
Yeah, I can
But
see that.
yeah, I mean, I wish that they could bring back like the Adventurers Club. Like I never got to experience the true
Mhm.
Pleasure Island as a 21, year old and up. I went there long before that. I think I was 18 when I did go there. And so I was able to get in, but I couldn't really do a lot of stuff. So I definitely miss a lot of those types of things. Like I'd love to see something like that come back there. But yeah, I don't know if I have any strong opinions here or there, but I do want to do, there's still a lot of restaurants at Disney Springs we actually haven't done.
Actually, same for me. There's some that I don't know that I ever will do. Like, I've just never heard anything that justifies paying the prices at STK. So
If you do it, if you do it, you do lunch. They have some
Yeah.
lunch specials that aren't bad, but other than that, I'm with you completely.
Oh,
Yep.
I don't know that I'll ever go to Paddlefish. I still haven't done. I mean, what have you done? Would you recommend Paddlefish? Am I overlooking it?
So we've never sat down for a meal. I've done the rooftop bar area.
Okay.
And I don't know what the menu is now because it's been a little while. They had lobster corn dogs that were actually pretty good.
Okay.
It's a great atmosphere. It's like the sun is setting. You're up there on the patio. They have a little fire pit going on. Surprisingly, as a Maryland boy, they had a pretty decent crab cake.
Oh.
But yeah,
All right.
we've never sat down because I have looked at the pricing and been like, well, I know Boathouse and we enjoy Boathouse a lot. And I'm just like, if I'm going to go somewhere for maybe some seafood at the pricing it's going to be, I'm probably going to select the atmosphere of Boathouse. And I'm going to look for, again, the sun setting, a little bit of a cooler evening. We're going to sit outside and I'm going to get the lobster roll and their truffle fries. And that's going to be good enough for me as opposed to trying something new like Paddlefish. And then I'm trying to think if we ever, because that was previously Fulton's, I believe.
I think
and I don't know if we ever ate there.
Yeah.
One of the things I really want to do at Disney Springs is the Peking duck at Morimoto.
At Morimoto, yeah.
That would be fun.
I haven't done that either. I've tried a lot of the menu there, and I love Morimoto.
Oh, so good.
But no, I've not done the duck. But I would do it.
Yeah,
I would definitely do it.
All right, maybe that's because it's 4-2.
Okay,
just saying.
I'll split it with you, buddy.
We'll figure something out, man.
Yeah, we could do it. By the way, I called it an almond old fashioned. I knew that wasn't right. It's a hazelnut old fashioned at Enzo's Hideaway.
That sounds even better. All right.
Yeah, and it's very good.
I got to do that because we were talking prior to hitting record about now I'm like getting into a little bit of those like old fashions, and I really got to look up and do some whiskey sours and stuff then, and some Manhattans. I've not gotten into those yet. But
whiskey sour is like I don't know that because I think if you enjoy an old fashioned, it means you sort of enjoy the taste of bourbon. And you're not really getting that if you do like a whiskey or a bourbon sour or something. So maybe try out a Manhattan.
Okay,
try your hand at those first.
All right, I'll do that. Well, I'm such a dork, like because I'm just new at it. I went to Bar Riva last night and saw my buddy Ken there. Ken is the absolute best at Bar Riva. And I was like, can I get old fashioned? And he goes, yeah. He's like, how do you want it? And I'm just like, well, I don't even know what other follow-up questions to ask you. Yeah, I'm like, I don't know what like liquor I want exactly, like what brand I want. I don't know what like. And he made one on the sweeter side, and it was incredible. Nice. It was so good. So I'm just like, all right, I don't know. And then I had another one from Adam, which was different, but also very good.
Yeah.
So it was like one of those, it was just neat. Like I'm kind of like learning. I'm like, oh, here's the different things. And I've been trying to make them at home, but I'm at home, like literally like measuring it out. And I'm like,
oh, I do the same
thing. I think I'm so cool. I got my orange and I'm like, peeling the outside and I'm rubbing the glass. Like
That's right.
And then like 17 minutes later, I finally get a drink. I'm like, oh, this is good. So that's
my ice melted.
Funny, but all right. So let's, you ready to move on to resorts, which I think is an interesting one because that's very broad. There's a lot going on here if we talk about a hot take at a resort.
Yeah. And actually, I only really have one resort hot take because I didn't want to go too deep on this.
Okay.
And that is, I think if it weren't for the view, there would be no reason to go to the California Grill.
Ooh.
I've been there, and maybe pre-COVID, it was a different story. I've been several times post-COVID. I have never been excited about my meal.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
What
And I've tried a lot of
what
different
have you
things. I'm
had?
like an adventurous person.
Okay.
I've had their sushi, I've had their steak. I've had what did I have the last time that I went? Um, don't they have a flatbread?
Yeah.
I feel like I tried a
Yeah, they have some
flatbread there.
pizzas. Or yeah,
But
flatbread pizzas.
I don't know. I just it's an expensive place to go.
Yeah.
And I just feel like food wise, you can just do this is maybe a ridiculous thing to say, but I would rather eat at Steakhouse 71. Like I just enjoy the food there so much. And I think it's better to just maybe go to the bar at the California Grill if you're going to go there.
Yeah.
I get it. It's a nice place. If you're looking for that atmosphere, you're having like a nice romantic date night. It's got it in spades. The atmosphere is wonderful. You're going to get good service. I just think because I heard that the kitchen there was like a lot of turnover in the kitchen over the last few years.
Yeah.
And I just think things have not maintained the quality they had maybe pre-COVID.
Interesting.
That's just my opinion.
Okay. Yeah, I'm trying to think. So we've been once since COVID, and we sat at the bar, and I don't have a good judgment because I got the potato pizza, which literally had potato chips on it. And I have no idea how this came about or why I ordered it. Prior to that, we had been to 2 separate meals, and we had done the brunch.
Okay.
All of them for us were very, very good. But I will say, give me your thoughts on this. All right. What do you put a price on? I guess I'll call them upgrades, right? So let's take a steak, right?
Okay.
The exact same steak. And let's just say that steak is $25.
Okay.
What price do you put on that steak having a view of Magic Kingdom? What price do you put on that steak having a view of Epcot? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
What do you pay to maybe you're inside Epcot at, Chef de France or something, or you are in a park or something? Like, do you assess value to those add-ons? Because obviously it's different to get a certain steak from, Ruth Chris Steakhouse.
Yeah.
And Topolino's Terrace.
Right.
They could be the exact same meal, but you might pay $50 at Ruth's Chris. You might pay $70 at Topolino's. Do you feel that that's fair to give a $20 upcharge because you're at Riviera and you might see harmonious fireworks outside the window and the service is a level? Like, what are your thoughts on those types of upgrades? Because people say that a lot. Like, I'll talk about, all right, Via Napoli.
Mm-hmm.
Right. To me, I think their pizza is absolutely outstanding. I think the rest of the menu is Olive Garden.
That's fair.
But I'll pay more for pasta if I'm inside of Epcot.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Like, what do you think about that?
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I think that there's definitely a premium that you will pay for a meal, like an identical meal, restaurant to restaurant. If I am, let's say I'm at somewhere, I don't know, some generic location outside the park. We'll call it Olive Garden since that came up. If I'm at Olive Garden and that exact same dish, absolutely the same quality, is available in Via Napoli, or even if they offer that at, a place like California Grill or some, another Topolino, another place with a great view or great location, I accept and understand that there's going to be a premium on that.
Yeah.
I think the issue that I have is that I sort of expect that maybe I would be getting a higher quality dish at such a signature restaurant as some place like the California Grill. Yeah. And I wouldn't expect to get like, oh, well, this is the same steak that I could get anywhere else. And I think that was sort of what I was disappointed with at California Grill. Like that, the food when I've gotten like entrees there has just not stood out to me as like, oh, this is like so unique and such a this is a experience that I couldn't get at another restaurant, and it's of a quality that I can't get at another restaurant, but I'm paying as if it was. So I don't know, like I think that's probably where my biggest like negative feeling had come from is that I have had steak at a lot of different locations around Walt Disney World, and the filet at California Grill was just like okay,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. Yeah. It moved down my list the more I started having more at other locations, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think that's maybe what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah.
and I know that like Le Cellier is not like some people. I actually think Le Cellier has delicious steaks. Like I really enjoy every time I've gone to Le Cellier. I've really enjoyed my meal. I've got nothing bad to say about the meals there. However, I know that people would argue, well, you can get a better steak at the Yachtsman or like even Shula's. Like, and fine. Like I think those are maybe better steaks. But when I do have those experiences to compare to, and then I go get a steak at California Grill, and I'm like, oh, I was just expecting something else.
Yeah. Well, I'll touch on two things you just said. Talking about California Grill, for one, I don't get the contemporary at all. I don't understand it. We actually got to stay there. We were in the garden wing, which I know is a little bit different. The room, as far as size and layout, was outstanding. It was huge. We actually had a little walkout balcony right there on the water. It was really nice. I don't get the contemporary at all. And surprisingly, I would put Yachtsman steak way down the list of steaks that I've had. Now their sides, I thought reigned supreme. Like their sides were really, really good. This is going to sound so weird. I like a medium rare steak at a good steakhouse. Like I order the doneness based on where I am.
Sure.
You know, like if I go to Outback, I'm probably going to get medium, something like that, you know, but if I go to a really good steakhouse, I'm getting medium rare. And Yachtsman's, I understand 100% that means a cool pink center, but I felt that even though there was a good sear on the outside, the entire fillet was cold.
Oh,
like in a way. But I enjoyed it. And I think the atmosphere is really cool and all. I was absolutely blown away by Flying Fish. Their steak, I think right now is number one on property for me. Close second is Topolino's. I haven't been to either one
of those places.
Flying Fish. And we went for our anniversary last year and last April, and we actually got sat right next to the kitchen, and Jamie, the chef, was there, and she was sitting there cooking, getting stuff together, talking to us the entire time, just added to the atmosphere and everything. And the food was phenomenal. And this was not long after they reopened.
Wow.
And I thought it was outstanding, but, I just, again, I guess my overall hot take, and I've never been shy about that, is that I don't get the contemporary.
That's funny. I love it. But really? For me, again, it's nostalgia.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, because
I have no heartstrings to it.
I've stayed there over the years. Like growing up, I got to stay a couple of times, and I have some really, really fun. And we were in the main tower, and
that's awesome.
With Magic Kingdom views. So having that to sort of lean on is something that I've always wanted to do it again. I haven't been able to do it. But I definitely, I realize, like when people are talking about what's your favorite Magic Kingdom resort, I will frequently tell them contemporary, but the only reason I say that is because of my nostalgia for it. And I'm a monorail fan. I mean, come on.
Obviously.
Come on. The monorail goes right through that place. How cool is that? Yeah. But I realize it also sort of is like an airport terminal. Yeah. Or it's just it. And now they've got this weird Incredibles theming that I don't know how I feel about it yet.
Yeah. I like the look of it in photos. And I'm not a huge Incredibles fan, honestly. I can take it or leave it. But I like the look of it, but I get it. But that's what this whole episode is about, is that there's so much more to all of these things than just saying I like it or I don't like it. There's no factual information. It's not a fact that the contemporary isn't good because of what I said, because you have so much nostalgia. I mean, for me, I will say Coronado Springs is the best resort on property to me, because we have so much history. It's our second home. We've been there more than any other place in Disney World. We have wonderful friends that we've met through there. We've created these connections. So for us, it is the best. It doesn't mean it's the best. It just means it is for us.
Yeah.
And that's what I love. And I've seen plenty of people that have gone and been like, this resort is too big. The buses take too long. I had to walk to get food. And I'm like, you're not wrong either.
Yeah.
That was your experience. So that's what I love about all these conversations is just that we can, and that's where I really wanted this episode to go is like, let's take away. And I do love Diz Twitter as much as I dislike it, because there's some crazy stuff out there, but it's one of those things where you find that wonderful community and group that can all agree to disagree sometimes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So before we wrap up, because I've taken so much of your time and I'm so appreciative of it.
Oh, sure.
I have a couple quick, maybe bonus round hot takes. We touched on this a little bit during your Passholder Lounge episode that you had Rhonda and I on. Who is the one that we should be blaming for all these things that people don't like? Bob Chapek or Josh D'Amaro? Which one is it?
It's a Bob Chapek. 100% it's
Yeah.
Bob Chapek. He's the man at the top.
Yep.
He's the guy that doesn't mind. I heard on the Disney Dish, Len Testa said it this week, that he lets the inside thoughts come outside.
Oh my
or maybe
goodness,
it might have been Jim
perfectly
Hill that
put,
said
yeah.
that. But either way, that's the truth. And whether or not Josh D'Amaro is ultimately to blame for things that happen in the parks, and I'm sure he's got, I mean, obviously that's his area is the parks, so he's definitely making decisions there. He can do it with a smile.
Yeah.
He knows how to package it. He knows how to like make you thank him for it.
Yeah.
Bob Chapek is a guy who's like, he doesn't have that, I would almost call it like bedside manner. Like he's not that guy. He's someone who, like, if Walt had his say, he would never have a guy like Chapek running the company.
Yeah.
Because by the way, Walt also would make decisions to make the company money, but he would smile and shake your hand and make you feel like you were family. And that's what Josh D'Amaro does. That's not what Bob. So anyway, my hot take, it's all Bob Chapek's fault.
Yeah. My thought is Disney is a business.
Mm-hmm.
They want to make money.
Mm-hmm.
It's always been that way.
Yep.
But it didn't feel like that way 3 years ago. Even though it was the same, you didn't see it front facing. Now you see it front facing, and that is a Chapek thing. I agree. And I think D'Amaro is the face of Disney right now. And I've never talked to a cast member. I've met him a couple times myself, thankfully. Mm-hmm. And I've never gotten any impression that he doesn't care. It doesn't mean he doesn't. He might just be really good at what he does, but I feel the same way. What are your feelings on the park reservation system?
I don't mind it. It doesn't really bother me. I'm glad now that you can modify reservations. Mm-hmm. That's a big help. So you don't have to cancel to make one if you wanted to switch parks. But I don't love the 2 p.m. park hopping rule. Yeah. That's my only issue, because the big thing, you can tell me all day long they're doing this to make sure people have the best experience they can possibly have in the parks. Whatever. If that's true, and every park is booked except for Animal Kingdom, I can go book Animal Kingdom, tap in at 2:00, and then go to Epcot. Mm-hmm. What difference does it make? It doesn't make any difference.
Yep.
So that to me makes it a little more of a fallacy. But if honestly, if it was used the way that it's meant to be used, and they just managed park capacity and made sure that everyone was having a good experience because they weren't overloading the parks. But don't get it wrong, they are still jamming as many people as they can in there.
Oh my goodness. This morning, and that was my thing. Like, I agree with you completely. Park hopping is my only issue. I went to Magic Kingdom this morning, and let's just say I didn't know any better, and I'm just like, oh yeah, nobody will be here or whatever. I knew that it was at full reservation capacity. So I just went in, and at 11 a.m., I'm like, this is too much. It's insane that even though there are completely a ton of reservations at Animal Kingdom, I couldn't leave and go there right there until 2 p.m.
Right.
And now I've already scanned into Magic Kingdom. So it's not like I can cancel it and try and rebook it. So I find that part really, really strange.
Oh, that's good. That, looking at it from that other perspective too, you're right. That makes no sense. Like, what, you should be allowed to go to a park that doesn't have as many people in it. Why not?
Yep. Yeah. I'm relieving. All right. Final question. Genie Plus and individual Lightning Lane compared to the older. We'll go with the digital Fast Pass system, which is the thing that this replaced pre-COVID. How do you feel about Genie Plus and individual Lightning Lanes?
I do not like Genie Plus. I do not like individual Lightning Lanes because I think we are building up the infrastructure to actually allow for something that is much more intelligent and would actually allow like park flow to work better and virtual queues to be more efficient and effective. However, it's being used to drive profit and it's not being used to make park experience better. And that to me is the bottom line of the problem of what's been going on the last few years. Every decision that's made is packaged as if it is intended to improve park experience, and all it is intended to do is find ways to squeeze more money out of us. That's it.
Yeah.
And if anyone has used, I think personally, Genie Plus and individual Lightning Lane could work for that guest who only comes to Disney once every 3, 4, 5 years. And they're like, I'm just going to go ahead and spend all the money on buying the Lightning Lane, buying the Genie Plus, doing all of that stuff. And I'm going to make this work. But there's so much potential there for just even the day guest to actually benefit from using this thing. If it worked the way that it was originally sold, I would be willing, not maybe every time, but on a more frequent occasion to pay for Genie Plus if it actually did what Touring Plans does for free and optimizes your day and finds the shortest lines and gets you to the places you want to go. But the thing that killed me, the one day I tried it in Magic Kingdom and it kept telling me, oh, the next thing you needed to do is go to Liberty Square and listen to this audio. Are you kidding me? I'm not going to go waste 30 minutes of my time listening to audio. I want to go ride a ride. I'm not going to stand in Liberty Square and just listen to my phone.
Jeez.
Like, come on.
Yeah.
So, I don't love it.
I think the hardest part about it is you need a PhD just to even understand how it works. Like, that's the thing too. Like, say what you will. And I don't believe that you should compare Genie Plus to Express Pass at Universal. They're completely different systems, completely different prices.
Yeah.
I don't want to pay $150 to $200 or something a day at Disney to just walk onto every ride the way Express Pass does. That's why we became Premier Pass holders. We get Express Pass after 4. Yeah. Otherwise, we're going to book a Legacy hotel. But their system is just, you don't have to understand the system for Express Pass. You just buy it if you have the money, and then you just use it. That's it. You're done.
Yeah, that's
Put your phone in your pocket. Done. And the fact that I'm going to have to spend the entire week before Christmas because we're going to have to use Genie Plus and individual Lightning Lane because we're bringing the girls. They haven't been in almost a year. I want to maximize our park tickets and Hopper that we bought them. I'm going to have to literally spend all week again being like, I got to remember how to use this. I've done literally half a dozen episodes on it with the minds of Lynn Testa, and I'm still going to be like, I got to go back and listen to that episode with Lynn Testa. But wait, that was a year ago and it's probably not even accurate anymore. Now I got to go, like, it's just insane, that portion of it. I don't mind the system if it works the way it should, or if you understand it, but the problem is nobody understands it. It's impossible to understand.
Yeah.
Like the times, the everything. I mean, waking up early, this and that. I don't know. It's becoming hard. It's, and again, this has been an absolutely awesome, fun episode. You've been incredible. And we're not trying to paint a negative light or picture on anything. We're just having fun with all of this. But it is getting hard to sometimes explain to folks what it's like to go to Disney. I was talking to my brother yesterday about all of this, and I was like, man, you gotta hear about this Genie Plus system. And when I was done, I just kind of sat down and I was like, man, I feel really bad for that family in Denver that Bob Chapek loves so much. That, I really feel bad for that family from Denver that comes once every 5 years.
Yeah.
That this has become such a tough situation for them to understand how to navigate the parks. And the one thing I can say, and I'm sure you agree, is that we've always talked about, don't have a to-do list. Don't worry about what you do and don't do. Don't worry about what you do and don't understand. The biggest thing and the greatest thing about Disney is that it still is very, very magical. We don't feel that we've lost that, even though we're having to spend more money and be confused by things like Genie Plus. We still feel the magic every trip, and we go in with the mindset that we're there to enjoy our family. We're there to enjoy our friends. It's not about whether you ride, Cosmic Rewind or not. Yes, it is frustrating if you wake up at 7 a.m. and you miss out on a virtual queue or an individual lightning lane, but don't let that set your tone for the day. Don't let that determine whether your vacation was a success or not. Your vacation is a success if you sit by the pool and watch your kids play in the kids splash zone and they're having the time of their life, because 5 years from now, they're not going to remember that you didn't ride Cosmic Rewind. Only you will. So that's how I'm trying to paint this big, pretty picture at the end of our episode. That was basically hot takes, right?
I love it. I 100% agree with you. I think that's really the main reason that I get a little grumpy about the technology that we're using in the parks today, is because it creates a barrier and an obstacle that people either won't even know ahead of time that they're going to have to master, or they're going to struggle and stress and worry about it. And I just feel like that's not the way that I would like the Disney experience to be for people who are traveling to the parks and want to have the most magical experience that they can have, so it's overly complicated, and that's the biggest problem with it. But I'm the same way. I've still got my annual pass. I still go to the parks a lot, and I still find a lot of magic there. I get sort of grumpy. We'll just say grumpy about it when things get more complicated, or they start finding ways to make it a little more expensive, because at the end of the day, it is supposed to be accessible to everyone. That's the idea. Yeah,
for sure. So. Well, Justin, thank you. You have been incredible. We're going to have you back again for sure. Everybody, if you have not subscribed, listen to the Passholder Lounge podcast. It is absolutely outstanding. Highly suggest that you do. Appreciate you, brother. I'm so thankful you were able to fill in, and you are one of a kind, and I love your thoughts and takes on all this type of stuff. So thank you so much for coming on, and we're definitely going to see you real soon here on Main Street Magic.
That sounds great, Jeremy. This has been a blast, and just thanks for having me, man. And I would love for all of you to check out the show, and let me know if you come over to the Passholder Lounge and it was by way of Main Street Magic. Let me know, because I love to hear stuff like that, and I'll make sure that Jeremy knows that he's sending his good people over my way, because that's what it's all about. We build each other up in this community. That's what we're trying to do. So thanks again, sir.
All right. Thank you, brother. What an absolutely awesome conversation with Justin Monorail from the Passholder Lounge podcast. Again, make sure you subscribe and check him out on all his social media channels. Thank you all so much for listening. We truly appreciate it. Hit that subscribe button and get brand new episodes every Tuesday and Friday. And we would absolutely love if you leave us a rating and review, because as Rhonda always says, it'll help our show grow. That's all we've got. We'll see you real soon.
Jeremy and Rhonda are more than a little fond of Disney World, so they made this podcast to share it all with you. Reports and resorts, top 10 lists of all sorts, Main Street Magic's bringing it home for you.